My ex-GF tried to baby trap me with someone else's child, but I saw right through her bop behavior and kicked her to the streets. Now she has been stalking me for 14 years and sent her child to ambush mine at the zoo. Posted by you/Able19985. Buckle up. 15 years ago, I was 25 and finishing my contract. My then girlfriend of 3 years, Natalie, was acting increasingly strange. I came back from a 2-month assignment and was prepared to break up with her. She came by and gave me the good news that she was pregnant. I asked how far along she was, and she said 5 weeks. So I broke it off with her and told her she needed to do better at math. She refused the breakup and insisted the baby was mine. I told her the following: we do a paternity test, and if the child was mine, we could talk about financial support and custody arrangements with lawyers. She refused both and told everyone we knew that I was a deadbeat for getting her pregnant and leaving her. I explained to everyone that I was on a 2-month assignment when she conceived, but a few insisted that, for the sake of decency, I house her and provide limited support. I consulted a lawyer about this mess, and the lawyer made it very clear that any overt support I gave could be seen as me taking responsibility. I told my friends this, and most dropped the issue, except for one guy who insisted that charity couldn't be used as a legal cudgel. I told him if he believed that, he could house her. He agreed to drop it after that. The child was born, and I'm not even going to do the whole "she didn't look like me" thing because most babies are born with squished faces. All I saw were the pictures she sent me with messages like "Emma wants to know where daddy is" and such. She still refused to take any paternity tests. But her constantly showing up with that baby got to the point where I filed a restraining order. Fun fact, in my state, a permanent restraining order is not, in fact, permanent. It is 2 years long. The only way to get it longer is if there was a violent crime associated, and apparently bugging someone with a baby that's not theirs is not a violent crime. So my life for the last 14 years has been me renewing the restraining order every 2 years because once it clears, Natalie shows up again with my not child. I eventually found a nice girl, got married, and now have a 9-year-old son, Henry. My wife, Kim, is well aware of Natalie and Emma. When the cycle begins again, I always say the same thing: we do a paternity test, and once paternity is proven, I will take custody and set up financial support. Natalie always refuses and says both are insulting. Recently, the cycle started again, and this time Emma showed up first. She approached my son during a school event, a visit to the zoo, and said, "Hi, I'm your big sister Emma." Henry knows about stranger danger and ran to a teacher. I had to have a very painful talk with the teachers and parents who were at the event about my relationship with Emma and Natalie, and how Emma was never my daughter. I even called her my daughter once or twice in the conversation. After the group disbanded, one of the mothers confronted me and said that while Natalie was wrong to tell this poor child I was her father, calling her my daughter was mocking the situation. I kind of get where she's coming from, but I can't help this child. The honest truth is that making light of the 2-year cycles is the closest I can get to finding peace in the situation. Edit. To answer the repeated question, in my state, the mother has to start the petition for the father to be established and the test to begin. There is no instance where a father can start the petition. There was a chance to do this when Emma was born, but the window was exactly 1 month, and I was much too focused on the restraining order, not thinking the paternity angle would bite me in the rear. One last time, to everyone saying, just ask for custody, that'll force a DNA test. It literally can't be done. I've been through this enough with a lawyer and have consulted with other lawyers. There are laws protecting children, and many of them exist for good reason. I'll explain it the way my lawyer explained it. Imagine there's a woman who ran from an abusive ex. She finds out after she escaped that she's pregnant. She gives birth, never puts the ex on the birth certificate, and never tries to file for support because she wants to get as far away from him as possible. He finds out years later and tries to rope her back in using the child as leverage. She can just say no, and the state has to let it go. There is, however, a provision that if the father was involved enough to know when the birth was, he could submit his DNA to the state within 31 days of birth as a potential father, but that time has long passed. The law is designed this way on purpose. In the eyes of the family court, I am a random person, and I was never claimed to be Emma's father. If you think the state wants all children to be claimed by fathers and will gladly submit any DNA test whenever any potential father shows up, find a random single mom, call the family court, and say you want to claim her child. I am tired of everyone acting like all I needed to do was fill out one sheet of paper and this nightmare would end. It doesn't work that way.